All right, good morning, class. If everyone can take their seats, we'll get ready to go here. Welcome to Hat History 301. We're going to get started on a very, very big topic today. Some of you look a little lost. If you're here for the remedial hat history class about Instagram hat battles, that's down the hall in room 118. And that's going to be for Hat History 82. So this class is for serious hat collectors and serious hat students. And all right, let's get started here. Let's open up our textbooks here to page 47, and we will begin our lecture here about the Great 3-Year Hat War between Lids and Hat Club. And we're going to start with the Midnight Ride of Shawn the Hat Patriot. We begin on February 11th, 2021, around midnight or so. Shawn the Hat Patriot was going on to lids.com. I, Shawn the Hat Patriot, will go forth and tell every hat collector that Lids is cool again! That's right. Lids is cool again! Lids is cool again! Hey, buddy, quiet down. It's midnight. My dog's barking at the Bruins game. They're losing to the Sharks, and I'm trying to enjoy some clam chowder. What is it? What's so important at midnight? Oh, I'm sorry, good sir. I'm sorry for this midnight run. I'm here, though, to tell everyone that Lids is cool again. Lids is cool again? Lids is cool again! Oh, sweet! Oh, that finally means I can use my $10 rewards online for purchases with my rewards pass. Yes! Well, actually, you can only use your rewards still in store. What? Are you serious? That's baloney! Sorry. Hey, guys, get a little of this mook here. He says Lids is cool again, but it's not going back to the old Lids. Come on, what's up with that? Well... So you're telling me that Lids is cool again, but it's not going back to the old Lids. What's your problem? What is that? Lids is cool again? Sweet! That means I don't need a silly code emailed to me each month to allow me to use my access pass and discount codes. I use it on any hats I want. No. What? Actually, you still get an emailed code every month for your access pass to get discounts on select hats. Not every hat applies. See terms and conditions for exclusions that apply. Yeah, I know. They're not doing that? Well, then why is it cool? Lids is cool again. Lids is cool again. Who interrupts my evening reading of American Intergovernmental Relations here at the Harvard Library? Oh, I'm sorry, good sir, that I'm disturbing your riveting midnight reading. I'm here to tell everyone that Lids is cool again. Oh, what's this now? Lids is cool again? This is incendiary news. That's a fancy word for exciting. This means I can finally have my online orders from Lids shipped to my local Lids store at the Harvard campus. Fantastic! Actually, don't shoot the messenger here. Lids kind of actually raised the price of shipping, and in terms of quality of the delivery service has gone down because they use FedEx. So, yeah. What? That's not it? Well then what the fuck is this all about, Lids being cool again? Explain yourself. Oh, come on, no. Lids is cool again. Lids is cool again, everyone. Lids is cool again? Awesome, hell yeah. They must have fixed that crappy looking Fanatics website. We gotta celebrate with the Sam Adams here. Oh crap. No. What? They didn't fix the clunky, shitty website. What do you mean they didn't fix the website? You said Lids was cool again. Lids is cool again. They have new hats. They're colored underbrims now. That's it? Just colored underbrims? How droll news. Colored undervisors? Come on. That ain't cool. Colored UVs? Come on. That's so 2020. Ooh, fancy pink undervisors. Ooh, boy. I'm going to go back to my readings at the Harvard Library. That's pretty cool. Like Hat Club and Hat Heaven. Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh. Crap. Man, I hope the history textbooks are going to be nice about all this. Okay, class, now that we have a little bit of a introductory of what the Midnight Ride of Shawn the Hat Patriot was, let's get into the actual lecture here. We're going to have a bit of a slideshow here with the old-style PowerPoint. So get out a notebook, pen, or pencil to take notes with. I know you're snickering at me. I know it's 2050-something, and notebook, paper, and pens are outdated. It's an old man saying like I am. I get it. So if you want to use your iPad 28 to take notes with, or your holographic pad, whatever you do to take notes, feel free. But it's going to be a very big day for lecture here. We're getting into the great 3-year hat war of Lids and Hat Club. So it was February 11th. 2021, about midnight Eastern Standard Time. I remember that myself. When Shawn, it was an individual named Shawn, on the FHS, the Fitted Hat Society Facebook page. I know Facebook is outdated, so refer to your Hat History 101 textbooks to what Facebook was and other social media platforms that I'll be discussing throughout this lecture, if you need to. So he went on the FHS Facebook page and shared screenshots from the Lids website that Lids now had colored underbrim hats. This is a very big thing, that Lids finally joined the trend, the new style, the new wave of hats and how they look with colored underbrims, like the one that I have here. This is a Cubs one, pretty simple. The Lids did something similar, where there were hats with a black crown, pink underbrim, side patches, and the front emblem had pink accents to it. And this was very cool. Lids had never done this before. Many other hat retailers and companies had done this before, but this was the first time that the big name Lids was finally doing this. This was huge. So they came out with other hat colors with underbrims. They came out with, of course, the black and the pink UV, the sky blue, and the pink UV. More often, the UV color had an accent color to match the side patch, and more often the front emblem. And I say sky blue because, like I have here to show you, Hat Club did a cotton candy color wave with a light blue and pink underbrim, pink accents, and Lids did their own light blue and pink accent underbrim color. So they are familiar color looks, but also Lids did do some of their own colorways, like a green and orange bottom. One that I really liked was the gray, kind of like a light gray, and a sky blue accent and underbrim color. Purple, sky blue, seafoam, and butter yellow, which was a weird one, but they had a lot of other ideas out there. Another common one was a black hat with a red underbrim and accent colors. Now, colors combinations can only be so unique for so long that after a while they just become kind of common, that you have to kind of design it in your own way. Like with the Lids, sky blue hat that they had some different side patches. They did their side patches a little bit different in coloring, and the blue itself was different than the Hat Club cotton candy. Now, also with a lot of these hat collection color on brims that Lids did, had different either front emblems or different side patches for their own hats. Some kind of overlap because there are only so many options that you can use for the 5950 New Era hat. But Lids, I think, did make a good attempt to have different side patches and or front logos. Now, why were colored underbrims so popular? You had three primary colors of underbrims that went through so many decades. From the 50s, 60s, and into the 70s, maybe the 80s even, the popular, or the mainly used underbrim color for baseball hats was Kelly green. Now, that was for standard on-field hats. Nothing of, like, style hats was a thing, really. At those times, the fedora was considered a style hat, not a baseball hat, like it is today. 80s, 90s, into the early aughts, you had gray underbrims. And then into the late aughts, into the 2010s and 20s, you had black underbrims. So that were just the standard brim colors, really, for on-field hats, if not sideline hats, or other 5950 fitted hats that New Era would produce. But it would be in 2020 that Jason of Hat Club, a Southwestern based company that started in the 1990s, would come out with the original pink underbrim. And it became a very, very popular trend at the time. It was as considered a hype at the time, something that was considered cool in the moment and was thought to just fleet out. But it stuck around. And Hat Club is the formation, it is the founder of the pink underbrims. They would go on to do blue, icy blue underbrims, as they would say. Other different variations of different colored underbrims, other than the standard Kelly green, black, and gray. And they did it very well. Of course, other hat companies like Hat Heaven, My Fitted, Fitted Exclusives, Sports World 165, I think Toppers at one point maybe had done it. It became a new trend that others wanted to follow. But it was Hat Club and Jason that originated the pink underbrim. And that was in early 2020, before the pandemic. It would move on into this great scope of popularity that pre-orders became a new thing with ordering hats, where at the initial drop of these popular hats, sometimes you might not get them. It just happens. So Hat Club introduced pre-orders where you would be more often guaranteed the hat that you would want, and you have time to select from different hats that you would want. No pressure in those fleeting seconds to pick out the hats that you would want, and hopefully that you would get it. This way, spreading out the pinkies or icy blue underbrim colors would be more fruitful for hat collectors out there in the hat community and the hat world. So as Shawn the Hat Patriot said in his midnight run, for years, Lids had become very unpopular. The trust that it had gained, the popularity that it had gained with the hat community was nearly nothing. This happened, if you remember from your Hat History 201 course, the fall, the decimation of Lids, of the old Lids, happened March 19th, I remember, in 2019. I remember that date, actually. I remember being at my temp job, and one of my hat collector friends had messaged me that the Lids website changed. I checked it out myself, and it looked bad. It was December of 2018 that Lids and Fanatics would merge. Fanatics would buy Lids, more of their online presence, more of their online business. And it wouldn't be until March 19th of 2019 that the merger would become official. Major things changed in the business model and the business practice of Lids. the way that they sold, the way that they distributed hats, the hats that they would release, the customer service, as well as the in-store and online interaction that customers would have. And their reward membership changed vastly. You weren't able to use your $10 rewards after building up so many points online. You can only use your $10 rewards in-store. That was a big blow to a lot of hat collectors. A lot of people were more turned off that, like me, you couldn't have your online order shipped to this nearest Lids store for free. That was very much a hindrance on my online shopping. You were a little bit more restricted with which discounts you could use on certain hats. With your Lids Access membership, you got 20% off of hats. But with the new Lids model, you got an access code each month that you were allowed to get 20% off of certain hats. More often, it did not count for new release hats online. And of course, the biggest thing that hat collectors would complain about was how awful and how shitty looking the new Lids website was. It was a carbon copy of Fanatics, and that Fanatics website was janky garbage. But for me, my biggest problem was this whole mess. Lids did not tell anyone that this was all happening. That was the biggest problem. That Lids didn't tell their employees, from what I had heard. And they didn't tell their loyal customers, their consumers, their Lids loyalists, that they were making this drastic change to the business model. And they lost a lot of Lids loyalty. All those Lids loyalists, they fled into the corners of the hat world, seeking refuge and wandering the desert of hats for years upon years. It was awful. And Lids' response to everyone complaining was very tone deaf. So that's why when Lids came out with these new hats, a lot of people were excited because Lids didn't really have any new hats since their decimation in 2019. So that leads us into some early problems with their release. That, one, they didn't really announce it on social media themselves. It was a lot within the hat community, like Shawn the Hat Patriot, that would announce to Facebook, to Instagram. So it was up to people like Shawn to announce on social media, and other hat patriots that would announce on social media their own YouTube channels, like Shawn Stay Fitted, another great Shawn of the hat world, to announce that Lids was back, Lids was legit. Lids would eventually come out with their own posts on social media that, yes, online the hats were available as well as in store, but of course online was another problem because of the janky mess that was the Fanatics website, that those hats were very hard to find. It took a little bit of effort to find the new hats of the different color waves that Lids was releasing. So those were the early problems of Lids, but they did recover and would come out after that pretty strong. So, of course, this is the great 3-year hat war between Lids and Hat Club. So this came out as a little bit of a surprise was Hat Club that Lids was being competitive. This was just friendly competition. This gave options for hat collectors to spend their money elsewhere. That there was another big player. And it wasn't just like a small name. This was a big name that came back, had a nice comeback to the hat world and the hat community for their designs and what they offered. Now, the first shot heard around the world that started this great hat war, it was shot from Lids. It was on an Instagram live show. Lids did their own Instagram live where they had their head designer of this new collection wave talk about the origination, the inspiration behind these new colorways. Now, he did say that these were inspired by sneakers, which was pretty false. It was really to be more competitive with Hat Club and Hat Heaven, Sports World 165, My Fitteds, like those other places I mentioned before. But he had said, quote, in the live stream when he was asked by another associate about these new hats for availability, he said, quote, no need to pre-order. You don't have to wait 4 months. These are in stores now. This was a direct shot at Hat Club because they had done pre-orders for so long, for most of 2020 and into 2021 a little bit, where you would pre-order your hat, you would select the hat that you would want, that way you were guaranteed your hat, and toward the end of 2020 there were some delays in shipping, but that was because of the coronavirus, that big pandemic, that it halted a lot of overseas trading, and also tariffs did not help. A lot of hat community members did not really understand and did a lot of bitching and moaning that they did not get their hats pre-ordered within 3 months. But I drag on and on. I drone. So that was the first shots fired by Lids. So we talk about these short-term battles. In the short term, how did Lids and Hat Club respond to each other? With Lids, they said that they would roll out new hat color designs, hat color schemes every month. At the time, it seemed a little kind of like, okay, well, that's cool. Different colorways every month, and for a while it was working. They also increased the quantity in stores, which did help, which was a major advantage over Hat Club. That Lids had hundreds, if not thousands, of hat stores and locations across America, that they had a brick and mortar store. So before we get into more of the actual battles, let's look into the contenders here, the two major powerhouses that are Lids and Hat Club. What are their advantages over each other? Lids has brick and mortar stores. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of stores, either in malls or as standalone stores like you would see on Michigan Avenue or State Street in Chicago, or in New York City, all those urban areas that people could physically go to and try on a hat instead of guessing their hat size and getting a shipment from online order that the hat might not fit, might be too big, too small. That they had that advantage of also quantity. They were more appealing to common hat collectors. I remember when in my younger days, I was able to go to Lid stores, and more often, there'd be all these guys wearing these fitted hats, but more often, just from eavesdropping on talking with the Lids associates in the store, they didn't really seem too educated about a lot of the hat world and the hat community. They were just there for a cool looking hat. They wanted something embroidered on the side, which was kind of a tell sign that they were a common hat collector. More often, to be honest, serious hat collectors don't usually get things embroidered on the side of their hats or on the back or somewhere on the hat. More often they don't. But they were more appealing to regular consumers of hats. Lids had a little bit better of a rewards program, just barely, that you had better chances to gain rewards faster, and you were more often about 80% guaranteed a discount, either through your access pass that you pay $5 a year for, or through a sale through the website. And they also had more options other than hats. They had apparel, they had accessories, they had jerseys. So that was also another way to appeal to the common hat collector out there, the more common hat consumer. Hat Club would have better designs on their hats, their exclusive hats. They had more collaborations with different designers that made them a little bit more serious, a little bit more eye-appealing for streetwear. They had more hype, and they were more of a trend leader. And in some instances, they had a little bit more creativity with different colorways that they would use for fitted hats, like an NBA, MLB crossover hat, using a baseball hat with the colors of the local basketball team, or hockey. So those are some of the main differences, the biggest reasons that Lids and Hat Club can bolster themselves and say that they were better than the other in comparative ways. So in the short-term battles, Lids rolled out new color wave designs for each month, and it was kind of interesting to see, what would they do each month, whereas Hat Club would do kind of something about every other week or two. Lids would do in every month. Lids also increased quantity in their brick and mortar stores, which is again a big advantage that they had over Hat Club. And also with the new rollout of custom lids online, that through an interview of the CEO of Lids, Tom Ripley, talking with Dre616, a very popular YouTube hat channel, he talked about custom lids coming back. The ability for hat collectors to design their own hats, which was very, very great. Hat Club, though, had different ideas in the short-term battles. They redesigned the spring 2021 hats for baseball that Lids rolled out whatever New Era gave them, which was pretty lapsadaisical and boring. Recycled logos, really. So Hat Club did a little bit more digging into and more design work into that. They did crossover hats, like I said before, of the better creativity with NHL and MLB teams. And they had their own fake hockey league, as at the time, New Era did not have the rights anymore to NHL apparel and hats. So these were the short-term battles that were fought between Lids and Hat Club. Now, I do want to say that we keep saying that Lids is cool again, Lids is cool again. That yes, their website was a little janky to get to those new hats, but it was able to find them eventually. But what was very funny, it was in some ways hilarious, I would think, is that because it's the Fanatics website practically, it's a carbon copy, just with the Lids logo on it instead of Fanatics. These hats that Lids rolled out with were available on the Fanatics website as well. But no one said, look at Fanatics, look how cool they are, look at what Fanatics is doing, look at what Lids and Fanatics are doing. No. They were left in the dust. All these hats were available through Fanatics and even Macy's, but no one really, pardon my French, gave a shit about Fanatics or Macy's having these hats. They focused back on the brand name of Lids. The Lids name still carried its weight. Even though after 2 years of hat collectors wandering the desert, they came back to Lids. And Lids would eventually come to Fanatics and say in the summer of 2021 that they were going to drop Fanatics and they were going to move away from their websites and they would become independent again. And this would start the long-term battles in the great 3-year hat war between Lids and Hat Club. Before going into our break for lecture here, we're going to kind of wrap up the short-term events of the beginnings of the Great Hat War and start to look into what the future of the war had held, what the longer-lasting changes and more drastic changes would bring. And the first drastic change came from Lids that really gave them a bigger boost over Hat Club. Now, in tonight's homework, you're going to be watching different hat YouTube channels. Shawn Stay Fitted, you'll watch Professor Hatter, you'll watch Views from the Vault, you'll watch many other hat YouTube channels that come out, oh, and the Hat Collector, I forgot him, that will come out to claim that Lids was legit, Lids was back, Lids was cool. However those channels said it, in their own way, Lids was back. But what was funny is that historians look back, and even initially, no one batted an eye that Fanatics, really the parent company to the online Lids store, had the same exact hats. It was not so much funny, but hilarious that the idea that Fanatics wanted to merge with Lids, the reason why they wanted to merge was to obtain that branding of Lids, that Lids and Fanatics would create a super power of sports apparel. But it backfired on them, and this was the final straw, that no one came out to say, Fanatics is cool, Fanatics has all these cool hats. No, they said lids. So, it was lids that came out with all these new hats, and therefore it was the beginning of the end of this Fanatics lids relationship. So it was announced in June of 2021 that lids would be separating from Fanatics on their website and in any other affiliation. This was huge because lids would get back their old website, their own design of the website that was more intuitive, that was better proclaiming of new hats, not just telling you for 5 months that, oh, the Lakers and the Dodgers won their championships 5 months ago. Well, we have Lake Tahoe hats that no one really cares about because they're Fanatics branded, and those hats are pretty crappy quality. No. Lids would revamp their website. It was announced that they would separate, and by the end of 2021, Lids would have their own website back. That was the announcement in June, but the actual event of Lids bringing back their website would happen on November 4th, 2021. And it was a marvelous, huge day for Lids. This separation was more of a ability for Lids to breathe again and do what they were best at, not to be held under by the boring thumb knowledge that Fanatics had tried to offer. It never worked out, and this was just proof of this new hat drop that Lids did, that the Fanatics and Lids merger was going to be a failure. Alright, class, so that's going to be the first half of the lecture. I know I've been talking for a little bit, so we're going to take a 10-minute break here. Going to go for recess. Go get a coffee. Let's make it 15 then, if you're getting a coffee. The cafeteria then is going to be backed up with people. Grab a coffee, grab a sandwich, grab a new hat to wear for class, whatever you want to do. I'll see you in 15 minutes, and then we'll talk about the long-term effects of the Great Hat War, and we'll talk about drastic changes that Lids and Hat Club implemented to combat each other, and how this war divided the hat community and the hat world. So that will be in the next session of this lecture, and I will see you after recess. And